Welcome to Talking Shop, the show that goes over all the things in the news that would affect you if you're selling online. Today we're talking about...
Windfall taxes.
Yep, windfall taxes. We're talking about Facebook shops and Instagram shops. They've launched a new initiative there. And also...
Is it right that some businesses could be seen as profiteering during coronavirus crisis?
Let's do it. Okay, so welcome to the show. My name's Anthony Chesworth. I'm the CEO and founder of ekm.com, which is an e-commerce platform that lets anyone sell online. And I'm joined again at home with Alison.
Yeah, I head up the talent at EKM, so looking for the best people to help everyone set up and make use of their online shops.
So as usual, at the moment, we're at home.
Yeah.
So if we get disturbed, it's because we're at home. If you can hear birds and stuff, if you're listening to the podcast, because we're outside, because it's nice. The weather's nice.
Yeah, it was a bit cooler earlier on, but it's warmed up.
Yeah, the weather's good, isn't it? Okay, so the first story, which is the big one at the moment, is about Facebook, how they're launching online shops for Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
They announced that earlier this week. Mark Zuckerberg actually did it, and so that's live now. So you can sell on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, if you can be seen.
If you can be seen, yeah, if you can get the reach. You already can do this.
Yeah, you can already do it.
This is the other thing, because I mean, obviously we saw this news and it's really exciting and everything that how you can set up a shop on Instagram and Facebook, and we're always advocates in that people should be selling on every marketplace you possibly can. So you should be selling on eBay, Etsy, Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You should be on everything. So we're big advocates for this. But you've already been able to do this. And now we're talking to the team earlier, just before we came on air with this, and there's not actually much concrete information about this. I mean, we've not found anything, have we? Like there's a lot of media stuff about it.
Even I went on, didn't I, onto one of my pages for one of my online shops, and there was
there's nothing on it. There's nothing on any. It's all coming soon, but it's kind of like they've announced this and made the big media thing, but it was already there anywhere. So I don't know what. We're sort of struggling to find a lot of substance behind this. Yeah. Now, obviously, if you look at all the media stuff, it's kind of like they just want to bump up this shopping on Instagram and Facebook, and they're going to add a new tab, aren't they, on Instagram, which is good because they're competing against Amazon.
Yeah.
And anything that's going to help independent retailers to compete can only be a good thing.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's the reach.
It is the reach. It's like I'm going on Facebook and I go on Facebook to see what my friends are doing, what my friends are interested in, and yet at the minute I go on it and I don't see anything from my friends, and that's the stuff that I'm interested in. So you've always got to remember that when you do sell on these platforms, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, you've got to be conscious that you might not be reaching everybody, so you need to employ as many other marketing tactics as possible, really, making sure you get your customers' email addresses, making sure that you have a database, making sure you know exactly who they are, and trying to build reach in different ways as well as through Facebook likes and comments and that things, because they change the algorithm all the time as well.
And also, in fairness, if you're a business trying to sell your products, you are competing against friends and family. Funny cat videos, people falling over, people crashing, all those videos that we see on Facebook and Instagram. You're competing against that, and so with the greatest respect and the greatest will in the world, unless your product is more interesting than a cat doing something funny or someone falling down and off something, you're never going to get that reach. And that's the problem with all these things, and it's getting them eyeballs, and so it's very difficult.
It's the same as like traditional TV advertising when you look back, that it was all about how many eyeballs you get on your content.
Yeah, you've got to put content that people want to consume.
Yeah.
And obviously, so the aim of this though is that once you've got someone onto your page on Facebook or on Instagram, they could buy things. And I think there's a lot of stuff as well to do with the live shopping as well, wasn't there? Like the live shopping stuff as well, so that people can actually on a live stream actually buy things, and they're going to use artificial intelligence to that's what they always say, artificial intelligence, but to ultimately tag stuff. So if like now, like this video, or you might be watching this and it might bring up that your top's from
Sort of
XYZ,
basic, yeah.
and that you can buy it by clicking here. And I suppose that's where the game changer is for Facebook, because if they could identify all the clothes that we're wearing, the products that we've got, I've got an iPad, you've got an iPad that's probably blocking you.
Yeah.
They've got iPads, iPad Pros, and it could just literally, now you'd be watching this, it has click here to buy. And that's, I suppose, the ultimate aim
that
for
would be
them.
ultimate.
Because TV always wanted to do that. The TV industry always wanted to do that. But the problem is, if they can do that, why are they going to let it go to normal independent? This is the fear with all this stuff. They're not going to send it to an independent retailer, are they? They're going to take that transaction. They're going to be involved in it.
Yeah, at some point.
At some point, and this is when then brands are going to go direct to consumers. Like if you wanted a Sweaty Betty top or an Apple iPad, it's going to be direct from
From
them.
that brand, yeah.
But it's all about connecting and discovery. So that's a bit, to be honest, it's quite exciting and interesting.
Yeah.
The AI stuff and the auto-identifying stuff. But it's gonna change, again, it's another thing that it will change retail again. Because then it's all about content. It's all about putting out content and making money as a side result, isn't it? It's like that we've talked about a lot in the past. Like, it's about helping people, isn't it? Putting content out that helps people, and then as a side result, they'll see something and buy from you.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. But have you ever bought anything on Facebook?
Not directly, no. Not like by following the link and actually buying it, no.
I've
I've seen the adverts and clicked on them, but I've never bought. You know, like something that's just a bit different when you see it come up. But
Yeah, but
no,
you've never
I've
actually bought it.
No, I've bought something if my friends have posted something I like what it is, and then I message them and say, what's that? What do you think of it? So again, like reviews and things will be important.
Yeah.
You
What's
know,
that social
all-
proof?
Yeah, it's all the social proof stuff.
Well, you
because-
did that recently with that.
Yeah, that's Zillis chopper, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I put a little video on Instagram.
You've been
just 'cause I've
selling it
been a
everywhere.
saddo.
You should be on
I should
commission for
be,
this.
Yeah, but it was just such a good, like, little gadget that has made my life 10 times easier. Like cutting onions is just literally 3 pulls. So I just shared it on my Instagram.
I'll have
and
to
about,
cut to a video of you doing it.
yeah,
now.
about 10 people.
Yeah,
asked
but
me
that's
for,
interesting because that is the proper word of mouth marketing that
Thing.
companies want, because this is you've bought a product, you've liked it that much, you've talked about it on social media,
Yeah,
and then what Facebook would then do in theory is they would automatically tag that product, and then your friends could have just bought it,
yeah.
and that's the ultimate thing, isn't
Yeah,
it?
but again, it's changing again, isn't it? Like, because we've all been in lockdown, we've been doing things that we wouldn't have necessarily done, whereas we eat out quite a lot. We're now cooking at home, so that's you're learning skills and tools that you didn't know about because you had no need to know about them.
And then sharing
And
it
then
on
sharing
social
it,
media
yeah.
because it's different.
Yeah,
Like when someone starts going to the gym,
yeah.
they can't not post on
That they're going to
Facebook.
gym.
Yeah, I've been to the gym today, so they've got to post it up, haven't they? Because it's something new normally, or it's
Yeah.
something a bit different. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, let us know what you think. I mean, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and all that stuff, and comment below, and let us know what you think about this one. Like, is it going to be game changing, or is it going to be just business as usual, and people just move on to the next thing?
So the majority of the UK supports windfall taxes, which was on the FT earlier this week, which is basically taxing companies that have done well through the current crisis, so food retailers, online shops, that sort of thing, that have particularly done well. Now, do you think that's right? What do you think, Anthony?
Well, no, obviously not. No, I mean, it's funny because you actually read the article, and what it's saying is, which is the same of all taxation and stuff, is that the majority of people, agree that people who've made loads of money should pay loads more taxes, but of course they do. Because they've not. It's one of them. People will always vote for someone else to pay their taxes. So if you've done well, you should pay taxes, whereas I've not, so I shouldn't. That's how people work, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's always someone else's problem. Someone else should pay for it, and I don't think they should, because as well, like, just because people have been selling online, which, let's be honest, everyone should be doing anyway, that you shouldn't get.
You shouldn't be
You
penalised.
shouldn't be penalised for doing something that's common sense, which is selling on the internet. The people, that's the thing with capitalism. Capitalism rewards common sense, generally, doesn't it? Because the people who've not been selling online, like Primark, which I know we talked about on a previous one, they chose not to sell online, therefore they've been decimated by this crisis. If one of their competitors, like say Next or whoever it is, ASOS or whatever, decide that they're selling online, they've been rewarded for it. That's capitalism. If the world changes, you've got to adapt and evolve, haven't you?
Yeah.
You shouldn't then penalise the successful one
No.
to make up for the unsuccessful ones.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Especially like food retailers, they'll have had to put themselves in positions they wouldn't have been able, wouldn't have wanted to put themselves in.
I don't think when you actually look at it, like your Tesco's and your Asda's and Sainsbury's, they've not made as much money as you think. The firms for sales have got, because they've had to employ loads more extra people. More costs because they're having to do all the social distancing stuff.
Exactly.
So they've not made loads more money, have they?
No.
So it's a funny one.
And they've been there to support everybody. Imagine if they weren't there. Imagine if you couldn't get your shopping, you couldn't get your food, and then you're going to penalise the people that do it. That's not right.
But that's what these things always forget. It's always popular for someone else's problem. You know, they've made too much money, they can pay for it. It's always popular. But eventually what then happens is people go, well, you know what, we're not going to provide that service.
Yeah.
And then who wins? No one. Because that's what happened. That's what happens in France, and I know France is a very socialist country and stuff, but that happens in France all day long in those parts of the world where they put these rules on companies because they've got too successful. The companies just pull out and stop doing it there, and then everyone loses out.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember like a few years ago when we once went to France. We once went and we used Uber and stuff. All well and good. Yeah. We got round and it encouraged you to go. The next time we went a year later, it had been banned because it weren't fair on taxi drivers, and it was a nightmare to travel, weren't it?
Yeah, it's hard work.
And so you don't do it that way. You don't. If your kids are doing well at school, if when it's exams time, the kids that have done really well shouldn't then be penalised by having to do the work for the people that didn't do as well.
Yeah,
that isn't fair. And that's exactly what this is. Just because you've done well, you should have to pay for the people that have done less well. That's not how you do it. Fair enough, help those people that have not done as well, but not by penalising the people that have done well. They should be learning from the people that have done well. So, yeah, I don't agree with that one. But I know that popular opinion will be to do it, because if you do you know what I mean?
Do you think it will?
I don't. Well, it's like it's the age-old thing, isn't it, with tax? It's always popular to tax the rich. Whether you're talking about rich people, whether you're talking about rich companies, rich countries, whatever it is, it's always popular to tax the rich because the majority of people aren't. So you think like the really, really successful companies, and I'm talking about the mega successful ones, there's a handful of them. So of course it's going to be popular by everyone else to tax them, they can pay it. In the same way that like, if you look at like wealth, and I know there's all wealth inequality and stuff, but you look at most countries, the top 1% of most countries represents the majority of the wealth. So of course 99% of people are going to say tax them.
Yeah. That's
always going to be popular, isn't it? But it's kind of like, you've got to play it through and see, well, what actually happens?
Yeah, what's the result?
Yeah, because like, if now, Tesco's, it mentions Tesco's, Sainsbury's, Morrison's and stuff, some of those companies were struggling before this. Yeah. Now this might have been the lifeline that they needed to carry on growing and keep all these people employed. Now, if they take that lifeline and that money that they've earned extra to employ thousands upon thousands of people, and as a result of doing all that and helping everyone, they get penalised, what message does that send to companies in the future?
Yeah,
it's not good, is it? It's not a good. It's not a good one, and that's you've got to think this through. What message does it send to people? What message does it send now to people watching this who maybe aspiring to build their business up to be bigger? It sends a message: don't bother. Because if you try and you aspire and you want to build something big, it's too much now. We're going to come and take it off you. So no, I don't agree with this. Another one that we've seen on the FT again is the UK watchdog seeks powers to tackle coronavirus profiteering, and this is about that. Obviously, a lot of people when the coronavirus crisis happened were seen to be profiteering. Prices of things went up, even on like marketplaces like Amazon and eBay. Hand sanitizers and stuff shot up, and so there's obviously a lot of press coverage and stuff and complaints about it. Like I think like it says here that hand sanitizer, for example, went up 367%, and the average across all of it was 130%. So price has more than doubled.
But in that basic economics, like supply and demand, of course, if there's less supply, the price goes up. It's basic. So basic rules of business and economics. Come on.
This is like the one we were just talking about. It's economics. Yeah. We live in a capitalist society, and I get governments and people have to get involved to stop monopolies and bits of stuff, and when there is dodgy trading going on and things. But you're right.
Yeah.
It is. At the end of the day, it's supply and demand. It's exactly the same as why a flight, not now, but a flight during summer holidays costs more than one out of summer holidays because more people want to go.
Are they going to investigate that?
Do you know what I mean? But again, it's, but the general public have been advocate for it. Yeah, like yes, it's not fair because I remember when we saw this happening, because we saw this happening across our network, like people selling face masks and things like that. You know, before this, people started complaining, didn't they? And people across the whole internet, like, oh, they're profiteering off this.
They're not, are they? They're just supplying something that people need.
Yeah.
So why should they be allowed to charge what they want to charge?
Well, yeah, because the market will decide.
Yeah.
If something's too expensive, people won't buy it. If something's too cheap, so many people will buy it. That's how it's economics.
Yeah, it's like you're not gonna, like it's like designer stuff. Some people choose to pay more for a designer handbag than they would do for a River Island handbag.
This was the argument when like with face masks. So they started trying to put in all these rules where a face mask could only be priced at a certain amount, or that hand sanitizer could. Now, that doesn't equate to any other industry because at the end of the day, if I want to buy a cheap face mask, fair enough, I might pay £1 for it or whatever, £2 for it. If I want to go and buy a Dior face mask or a Nike one or an Under Armour or whatever brand it was that I associate with, I'm going to pay more. And I might want that. I might want to wear an Under Armour face mask. I might want to wear a Gucci. You know the brands better than me. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not for someone else to say, nah, that's overcharged. Because that's like something like your top might be too expensive. That top that top only cost however much £5 to make in China, yet they're selling it for £60 in the UK. That's not acceptable. It's economics.
Yeah.
And I get it's just because it's such a sensitive subject. Because of all like the PPE stuff and the hand sanitizer stuff. Because you couldn't get hold of it, could you?
No.
But then again,
it encourages people to start up these
it
types
does.
of businesses.
But it wouldn't if there were price controls.
No.
And that's the problem again, where people don't think stuff through. So if now the hand sanitizer price kept going up and up and up and up and up, it becomes a point where every business is thinking, I'm going to start making that because there's money in it. I'm going to start making it, and then there'll be more supply. The price will drop back down.
Yeah.
But if you impose price controls, it means people don't bother entering the market, and then you end up with no supply. And again, economics. That's happened probably millions of times in history, where they've done that, they've imposed price controls. It means people don't invest into that area, and it means the quality is always rubbish because there's no incentive. Like if you knew that you could only sell a top, the maximum price you could sell for a t-shirt or a top, because it's price controlled, is £10. No one's ever going to make a nice top because it's like, there's no point in entering that market. If I'm a fancy fashion designer, I'm never going to go into making t-shirts because I can't sell them for more than £10. Same as how on earth did Apple get away with charging however much they charge for an iPad or a phone just for sticking their logo on it? But if they're price controlled, they won't enter that market.
No.
But I get that. I mean, by all means, comment and let us know. There's going to be people that disagree with this, and they think that because people have seen this profiteering, it shouldn't be allowed. But what's happened as well is that we've seen this, and even from our friends and stuff who do make face masks and stuff and make hand sanitizer, because a lot of businesses have had to adapt. Have had grief online.
Yeah.
For profiteering, and it's like, well,
and they're solving a problem.
They're solving a problem. If I need a face mask now, and I know someone can make me one, that's good. But that person, if they feel I daren't do it because I'm going to be seen as that's like, isn't anyone in business profiteering? Isn't that the nature of business?
Yeah.
That's the point. That's the point.
Success,
yeah, well, that's the point. I think people forget that sometimes. I think people forget the point of a business is to make profit. Now, we've been living in this deluded world for a long time now, where actually a lot of companies aim is just to get bigger and bigger, bigger, and bigger, and never make profit. But the definition of success in business is how much profit you make.
Yeah.
Isn't it? What is it? Turnover's vanity, profit's sanity, cash flow's king. But that is the point.
It is.
Anyone watching this now, your aim is to make profit, surely. If it isn't, you should set up as a charity or something. And even then, you've got an obligation to make profit so you can give to charities. That's the aim of life. And so you shouldn't diss people who are trying to provide for themselves and the family and stuff. Because if you don't like it, don't buy it. Buy somewhere else.
And we realised we forgot to sign off. So you've got a sort of a chopped in version.
Yeah, it's a chopped in version of us at night. So yeah, if you agree with what we said, let us know. If you disagree, let us know. Like, comment, share and subscribe, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you in another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, cheers.
Bye.